Hi everyone, welcome to DOdaily Thursday Thoughts. It's Des here with the live questions and answers from me. The episode that we look forward to each week, the start of the end of the week and the chance to start looking forward to the weekend. It's a great chance to create some light-hearted chat, sometimes a bit more serious than that, encourage all sorts of content, whatever people want to ask me, nice quirky bits of information or something slightly more serious. I'm willing to be open and honest, and like I say, just to create a bit of time to let people get involved, post their questions, interact, be part of what I do here on DOdaily. Of course, throughout the week I tend to talk about the way I'm feeling, the more serious stuff, and how I make it work and make it happen without being too serious. Hopefully it's got an element of relatability to it, but I tend to speak about the way I'm feeling. So on a Thursday, it's a chance to speak about whatever's on your mind. Got some great things to work on tonight, some great questions, some great content, what you guys have posted in. So really appreciate the support as ever. And like I say, if you do want to get involved at any point, please do drop us a comment. Please hit that like button. That's so important in me trying to build this channel. Still at it after all this time. It's been quite a while now, but it's still a relatively small YouTube channel, or very small in the grand scheme of things. But it's something I really enjoy doing, and just a chance for me to process some of my thoughts, like I say, through the week, and then start sort of winding things up a little bit and reflecting how well it's gone and how I'm looking forward to what's coming up. This week I've been quite quiet, lots of things, feeling really tired, but still feeling really positive. If you saw my episode on Tuesday, talking a lot about my activity and how I'm really getting back into it. That's an element to what I do, encouraging exercise, well-being. It's all important in us feeling good and making those positive changes. That's all I tried to do when I started this, and I'm trying to encourage others to do the same. A soft approach to mental health is the way I put it most weeks. It's not technical. I'm not no expert, but I have lived an experience of feeling down, and using exercise and activity to put me in a good place. Right now, I'm feeling absolutely fantastic. For the first time in a long time, I've actually done 4 days consecutive running, which is really pleasing. Really starting to feel it. Whilst it's still tough, it is really tough. I'm training for the London Marathon, and in all reality, I'm not going to be in a position to attack that, but I will do it. I will get through it. But that love for it's coming back, and that's what's most important, isn't it? All the time on DOdaily, whatever episode it is, I'm talking about doing the things we enjoy, encouraging people to do the things they enjoy, not to be distracted by what other people might think, say, or do, and just make the most of what we've got. We don't have time to waste in all reality. There's always something to upset us or send us off down a different path. For every sort of good experience, there's probably a bad one somewhere, but we have to make the most of the good ones, and that's the point, isn't it? Tend not to get too low myself, using DOdaily to talk about anything, whether it's the light-hearted stuff on a Thursday or whether it's the more serious stuff or trying to motivate people at the start of the week. I just use it to get things off my chest, get things out there, and really sort of appreciate what's going on around me and appreciate how I can do things better. And that's all it's about. Thursdays in particular, all we're trying to do is offer a few words which might help, encourage, inspire people to just think about how they go about things. Nobody's telling anyone what to do. I put this throwback question out where I ask for feedback. Again, there's no wrong answers. I ask people to post in their questions. I really encourage that. If you've got anything you want to ask me about anything I talk about throughout the week, I'd really appreciate you getting in touch. All the social media is now scrolling across the bottom of the screen. That'd be fantastic. You can always post it in the comments at the on any of the videos, or You can email me if you want it to be a bit more personal, des@dorunning.org.uk. Always looking to respond, always will respond. That's the point of this, is trying to help people who really need it. It's nice to get the support from those who look in and watch and sort of follow what I say, but one of the real aims of this is to support wherever I can as well. And I know it does help one or two, which is really pleasing. So if you want to get involved in any way, shape or form, please do. Please keep posting your questions. And of course, then I'll finish with a throwback question where I ask you to interact. And as much as it's nice to get the comments on whatever people think about that, again, no wrong answers. It's great that people can comment and support the channel. It just helps with the algorithm and spreading it around. I'll keep working at this. I'm still not where I want to be with it. Been a little bit inconsistent with it recently, but things are starting to shape up again. A few changes in my life in the last few months, all for the good. Nothing to stress about and worry in that sense, but it's made things particularly busy and how I have to do things slightly different. So all good stuff, but I'm readjusting it to get it back in. I want to take this forward. I want to do a lot more with it. I've been saying that for a while now, and frustrated with that inconsistency, but like the running, it's starting to just click into gear a little bit, whilst I have been a bit inconsistent this week. The real aim is to get right back on top of things. I got a message here from Sean Stone. I messaged you on Twitter last night. I don't know if you got it. I don't know if I did, actually. I will have a look as soon as we finish, Sean. Thanks for commenting there. Really, really appreciate you watching as well. So I'll definitely check that out and definitely get back in touch and respond to that. Like I say, anybody wants to get in touch in any way, I will always respond, even if it does take me a little bit of time. It's important for me to create those communication channels and be there if and when needed. So please do get in touch and please get behind the channel. Once again, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. That's really, really important when you're doing something like this. So I mentioned how I'm feeling good. Another one tonight, the fourth one. Feeling a bit tired this week, in all honesty. Bit of a baptism of fire after the weekend away, getting back into my activity. A couple of tough sessions, which I put myself through, but again, feeling really positive about London and the marathon and how it's working for me whilst I'm busy at work and I've got a lot to do. The running's helping me sort of wind down at the end of each day, but making me feel positive in the evening. And that's always a great place to be. What it does, it gives me that headspace to sort of clear my mind and go again. We always go again. That's what I say on DOdaily. And that's where I'm at. So feeling really good about it. I'm really happy just to be doing the things I enjoy. As the weeks progress, it's really, really, really important for me to just keep pushing on and keep doing whatever I can. Rest day tomorrow in terms of the running. So that's something to be positive about, especially with my legs as tired as they are. But again, I use all those sort of endorphins to finish the day, even if it's been a bit of a tricky one, on a good note. And it's always about finding the positives, isn't it? In today's episode, we'll try and find whatever positives we can to take forward. So cracking on with what we do on a Thursday, the throwback is it's always a question from one of last week's what were posed to me. Of course, the clocks changed last weekend, which is always a nice thing, isn't it? A bit more daylight makes us all feel a little bit better. I've been enjoying my running this week because I've been out in the daylight that little bit longer, a little bit warmer as well. Last night was particularly warm and noticeable, the change in temperature. That made it feel tough in one sense. But again, it's just nice to be out in the daylight and it's just a bit more comfortable. And whatever it is, whether it is running or just getting out and going somewhere, rather than being cooped up at home when we're not feeling fantastic, it can be nice to be doing it in the daylight, just an added bonus after the last few months. So the question was, how will you make the most of the extra daylight when the clock changed at the weekend? Just explain, a lot more running there in the daylight. It's making me, whilst I'm looking for every way I can to stay motivated, it's making me feel that little bit better. And about my running, it's not so cold, it's not so damp. It's you can meet up with people, and it feels like you're making the most of the day and that kind of thing. The running groups are in the daylight. it just feels so much better for me in that sense. Get the dog out in the daylight as well, rather than trudging around late at night. So all those things work for me. I was away at the coast when the clocks changed. So again, getting out for walks and doing things there, that was absolutely fantastic. So I posed a question, some responses here. I really, really appreciate those who do respond to this kind of thing. Like I said, there's no wrong answers. Peter says, I can't wait to get into my garden, looking forward to summer already. I'm waiting for the rain to stop so I can get out there. Again, if that's your thing, absolutely brilliant, isn't it? People enjoy that kind of thing. It's their safe space. Mine is my running, but some people enjoy gardening. Some people all enjoy all different things, isn't there? And who are we to say what people should and shouldn't enjoy? As I keep sort of trying to impose, the most important thing is just making sure that we do what we enjoy, not what others expect of us. So hopefully you can get out and sort that garden out soon, get the lawnmower out. Kay says it will be lovely to take Stan out in the evening when it's nice and light. Mentioned that already. Really, really appreciate that. It's been fantastic getting him out, because it's tended to be Kay walking the dog during the day, and then me doing it at night, sort of picking up the duties. Then perhaps we can both get out, or we can mix it up a little bit more, and make the most of it in that sense. So really looking forward to that. As he's getting a little bit older as well, we can take him slightly further. I actually took him on his longest walk for a while a couple of weeks ago. Me and Stan went on a little bit of a pub crawl. I had a couple of pints on the way. Just made the most of it at my last sort of half-day annual leave of my sort of allocation this year. It sounds daft, it sounds silly, but it's one of those things where I just thought, I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was St. Patrick's Day. I had a couple of Guinness. The dog sort of came from pub to pub. Like I said, there wasn't many, but he went on his longest walk, and then we got picked up by Kay and come home, and he loved it, I loved it, and that's what it's about, isn't it? So we're definitely going to sort of take him on some slightly longer ones and make the most of it in that sense. Dawn says, I'm looking forward to getting the barbecue out in the evening and having breakfast in the garden. That's nice, isn't it? When you can sit out. I'm not actually that fortunate to have a garden, so I definitely see the benefits in that. Sitting out at a table and having a barbecue. I love barbecue, even though I'm trying not to eat so much of that kind of food right now. I'm a mini health kick, but definitely see the benefits of it. It's always nice to be sat out in the sun. Get out early. Always talk about the benefits of attacking the day and using the blue light and that kind of thing. So it's just nice to. It's like being on holiday, isn't it? Sometimes when you're eating your food outside and it's comfortable and it's nice, in your own surroundings. Especially if you like Peter and enjoy your garden and make it nice. That's really beneficial. So I can see all the good things in that. And again, it just shows that people enjoy it in different ways. The throwback question was, how do you make the most of? How are you going to make the most of the daylight? So if you've got any further responses, please add them in. But really appreciate those guys for posting the comments there and letting us know how they're going to do it. So many different ways to make the most of one single change in what's happening around us. And that's the point, isn't it? Always talking about being inspired by whatever we can be, and for me, it's just talking, chatting, communicating, hearing these different things, and taking some of them on board. Some of them we dismiss quickly because it's not our thing, but I don't think we should dismiss it in a derogatory way. We just choose to do what we want to do, and let other people do what they want to do. That's the most important part of it. So once again, thanks for all those responses. Getting into the questions, I've got the usual 3 to go at. I've had a very, very brief look over them. I always mention that Kay puts these up for me. Don't think too much about them. Try not to sort of try not to put too many thoughts into it, because I just want it to be real, honest, straightforward stuff. Like I say, it's light-hearted chat on a Thursday night. It's just a different kind of content to some of the stuff you might see. You might be into a particular subject, whereas I'm trying to make this as broad as I can, just bit of light viewing, that is all it's about. So I'll get on with those. I'll stop babbling and get on with those. Question 1, looks like a great run for fish and chips earlier in the week. What's your favourite seaside food? This has come from Tom. Yes, if you caught up with any of my social media, any of my my video from Tuesday, you'll have seen that on Monday motivation, never miss a Monday. Was actually kicking myself about not getting my long run in on Sunday. There were 1 or 2 reasons behind that, but no excuses. I had to get back at it on Monday, and I always try to work off this never miss a Monday. If I start on Monday, I tend to hit the week hard and do well. If I don't, I tend to be a bit sluggish, and it can get to Wednesday, Thursday, and I've not done a great deal. Mentioned at the top of the episode, I've already done 4 runs in 4 days this week, and that's why it's important to me. But what I also did, being at the seaside, I do like fish and chips. Again, it's not something I eat very much, particularly the fish. I'm not a massive fish fan, but when I'm at the seaside, really, really enjoy, it's traditional, isn't it? We all know what it's about. So kind of made the run. Another reason to get out for a run was to go and have some fish and chips before we came home on Tuesday morning. So it just worked. Again, it ticked a few boxes. It made it worthwhile. It was a nice point to point from where we were staying up to the seafront. We ran to the end of the pier and then went to the chippy. It was really, really worthwhile, it seemed. And for as tough as it is sometimes on a Monday to get you running and to get going, use the different location. Didn't just use the fish and chips, use a different location. The fact that we was running point to point to the end of the pier, it seems like a great place to finish because you can't go any further, can you? And then the fish and chips, all those little small wins in one little thing. And it just worked for us. We enjoyed what we did. Myself and Kay did it together as well. Another reason. It proved to be good motivation. So absolutely fantastic. But the question is from Tom, what's your favourite seaside food? I'll say for many of the reasons I've just said, and spoke about how I do like fish and chips. I do like fish. I just don't eat much of it. So it's always something I try to do. Whether if I go to a football match and it's at a seaside location, I tend to have fish and chips, even if I'm there for the day. It just gives me that reason to have it. So it is one of my favourites. Trying to think what other seaside foods we've got. Mushy peas. That shows basically I'm from Nottingham. Everybody from Nottingham loves the mushy peas. If you don't know, it's a big thing where we live. So mushy peas, some people find the idea of eating them out of a pot a little bit revolting, but absolutely love them. I guess they'd be my favourite, and then there's all the usual stuff that we'd always have. Always have, candy floss, toffee apples, fairground stuff. But yeah, I think it's definitely mushy peas and fish and chips. Sometimes mushy peas and fish and chips. But no, that's my favourite food. Moving on to question 2. Is there anything running related that other people rave about, but you think is a bit unnecessary? Could be kit, tech, or anything. Not put too much thought into this already, but I guess the kit tech thing is a bit of a thing. I do have my Apple Watch, and I kind of insist on having an Apple Watch because I know how to use it. It connects in with my phone, so quite keen on that. But when it comes to sort of upgrading that and looking at other things, don't bother me too much because ultimately I use it to record my activity, my running. Kit, trainers, some people rave about different trainers. My last couple of pair of trainers have actually been given to me, which again is not something I expect, but somebody said that they don't work for them, and it was interesting last night at the running club. I actually thought there was books they were given to me. Not that I was ungrateful. I absolutely love them. They're comfortable. They work for me. But because they work for me, that's the most important thing. Doesn't matter what the name is. They're actually South Coney, which I was told at the running club. So that was that just shows how much these things the material side of it bothers me. The most important thing is to get things that work. And I guess one thing that's dawning on me with this running, as much as I'll always encourage people to take part in events, give yourself a goal and target. I had a conversation this evening with some guys I was running with that used to be a little bit obsessed with taking part in events and doing so many of these things every other week, ticking off another half marathon. But I'm a little bit more selective now, and I didn't mean to be. For one reason or another, I think COVID had a massive impact on that. I always tend to do the same events year on year on year, and we had to do it, and we had to get the medal. But all of a sudden, I think it's kind of dawned on me that doesn't define your enjoyment for running. Sometimes, whilst you think that's what keeps you motivated all the time, and it is important if you have got a goal for me, I encourage the guys to sign up for an event somewhere down the line and build their mind to it. But it's almost dawned on me that if you do too many, you can't feel the same sense of achievement every time. So I think now, whilst I surround myself with runners who are keen to do lots and lots of events, don't get me wrong, I still do plenty. There's still certain ones I really, really enjoy. But it is the ones I enjoy that I want to go back to and want to do again. There was a time when I didn't want to do the same one because I'd already done it. But I think it's important to do the ones you enjoy, the ones that become a bit of an annual event, that kind of thing. And you work towards them. I've been speaking about my London Marathon, and whilst I will always do that if I can, I'll go back year on year on year on year. And the Great North Run is the same, and the Robin Hood Half Marathon. I think the key thing for me now is to realise why they're important. This one in particular, I'm not going to do it so well, but it's not going to be the end of a process. Normally, a marathon or a big event is the end of a training program, and then comes a lull. But I'm open to use them now just to keep working from one to another without all the pressure of doing one, doing another, if you see what I mean there. And I think that's something that's only just dawned on me. So again, surrounding myself with the people I do, I understand why they might want to do them all the time. But for me, I think being a little bit more selective now and sort of reining things in a little bit in that sense, and just getting enjoyment from the process. The process is the real enjoyment, isn't it? Because when you go and do these things and you do them well, it's fantastic to achieve. The feeling it gives you, the sense of achievement afterwards is amazing. But the actual event itself is not very enjoyable if you do it really, really well. It's hard, it hurts, it's a grind. You wouldn't swap that feeling afterwards, but we can also enjoy the process. And for the first time in a long time, I'm really starting to enjoy the process of building up, getting that little bit quicker, taking more from it, getting more consistent, losing a bit of weight, feeling confident and good. And as I mentioned before, using it to brush off whatever's gone before and a busy day. Those things it's dawned on me that those things are important, not the actual event. So there is reasons why the events work, and they are they're almost like the swan song, aren't they? They're almost like the thing you reach for. So don't get me wrong, I'll keep doing them, but to do them in a way I was almost probably doing about 10, 15 events a year, every weekend, every other weekend, or at least one a month it seemed. And I think it all got a bit too much with motivation. You're trying to beat what you did before because it's the big one, and it just wasn't working to a point. And I think COVID acted as a timely reminder. It's taken me a long time to get back to a state where I feel really motivated. But that's the one thing I'd say now is where I'm just going to sort of, again, do it as I want to do it as I see it, not have expectation placed on me. Don't get me wrong, for all that, some people might be looking at this going, he's talking absolute rubbish because he's always encouraging us to do this or he's working towards that challenge. But again, I'm not killing myself to do this, and I'm putting options out there because I like to see people enjoying themselves and taking part together. That's more the point, So I think it's just important just to just to sort of rein myself in a little bit with that and not get too sort of headstrong. Now I'm doing London. I see it as part of a longer term process to get fit and then start attacking some of my times again late in the autumn with my half marathons. Do you know, I should be well trained. I should be lighter. I should be a little bit faster. And again, I'll get everything that I used to get out of it. I might go full circle and want to take part in even more again in the future. But for now, this is definitely the way I see it. And I think that kind of answers that question. I hope it does anyway. I hope you understand what I'm saying there. But yeah, really, really appreciate that. Just going back to that question about seaside food, Kay says donuts. And then the question about running, Ian says, Dawn here, I don't understand camel drink things. So they're the backpack things where people drink out of them. Some people see them as essential. I'm not a massive fan of actually drinking anything when I'm running. That's not advisable. If you're doing a long event, anything over 10K, you need to take on plenty of fluids. But again, I can't run around with things sort of on my back and anything additional. Running these kind of distances is hard enough. You know, doing it with something on your back is even tougher, no matter how light and the fact that you drink the water by the end anyway. But you know what I mean. So I kind of understand that. Comment here for me. Good evening, Des. Hope you're well. Can see before the game Saturday, I drew 2 pictures of the inside of the City Ground and a picture of Chris Bart Williams. Of course, can Eve say hello? I'll be at the football where Eve's a big football fan. Great to see you watching. Thanks again. Always looking in, so I appreciate that. Definitely, like I say, come and say hello and show us those pictures. Keep drawing. Eve's somebody who draws a lot of pictures to satisfy herself, you know. And again, it's one of those things that I encourage people to do what they enjoy, and I know she definitely enjoys that. So looking forward to seeing those. Moving on to the final question tonight, question 3, getting through these. This comes from Kay. If you could listen to only one song on repeat for the whole time you're running the London Marathon, what would it be? This is a tricky one, isn't it? Because I think any song you listen for 4, 5, 6 hours, however long it's going to take, is going to drive you a little bit insane. I really wasn't expecting this question. But I guess in the London Marathon, the one thing you want to be hearing is the London Marathon theme. That's so inspiring anyway. Myself and Kay tend to drop it on, you know, randomly just to get herself going and thinking about the marathon itself. It's great inspiration. It's really emotional on the day as well. You know, it gets the juices flowing, gets you sort of in the mood to do it when all the other worries and sort of stresses might be coming out about how far you got to run. You know, the emotion takes over and then you're like, come on, let's do this. So yeah, the trap London Marathon theme, I'm sure everybody knows it. If you've watched the coverage on the BBC, you'll definitely know what it's about. So probably that I could listen to over and over again, or at least for a long time. It got me thinking though, this question, and I thought, what song could you listen to for that long? And then I thought, well, perhaps Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell, or what, do you know, one of the long ones like that, Bohemian Rhapsody, because you wouldn't actually listen to them for that long, would you? That many times. It'd still be plenty, but I'm thinking of sort of 8-9 minute songs. If you're running decent miles, you know, they take most of a mile away, so you could almost time your miles to these songs as well, couldn't you? That would be an interesting way of looking at it. So yeah, that got me thinking. Although they're not favourites of mine. I actually one song I do like listening to, it's quite long as well, is and people are surprised when they say this, I've mentioned this before on DOdaily, is John Legend, All of Me. Bizarrely, just the way it is, it just gets me when I'm out running and it comes on. It's on my iPod. So it's on my phone. In my music now, iPod showing my age a little bit there, isn't it? That gets me going. I don't know why. It's quite a soft song, isn't it? But it's something that I can really. I start sort of striding out and feeling confident and really sort of builds me up. So that's something from the Stereophonics. You know, they're my favourite all-time band. And a couple of songs sort of spring to my mind as well from the Manic Street Preachers. A lot of people see that kind of music as dreary, but they've got some real good songs, a good beat to it. Australia, a Motorcycle Emptiness come to mind from the Manic Street Preachers. Really gets me going. So those kind of things. But again, I think listening to any music for that long would be really, really tough. What I will say on that, I was, and Kay had mentioned this to me in previous weeks, that there's actually, if you are looking for some inspiration, if you're looking for music to listen to, what to do activity, if you want to introduce it to your activity, some people absolutely love it. Some people can't do it. You know, I tend to go through fits and starts with it. Sometimes I'll have my headphones in for a couple of months and then I run a lot without them. You know, it's just my personal choice. Some people can't run without them. Some people can't run with music. I know one or two people like that. So what I will say, if you are looking to use it, there's actually on the Radio 1 website, there's actually some workout anthems, an hour-long episodes where the music kind of builds up, and it, as you're getting into your run and your exercise, it really does the trick. So that might be worth something checking out. Might be really, really useful. I love my dance music, so if I am listening to music when I'm out running, it's always some kind of dance music, and these songs that tend to go on for 15 minutes and they build up and up and up and up. You know, so that's the kind of thing I enjoy. I'm going to check them out. Like I say, it was Kay who mentioned it to me, but I had a quick look on the website and there's plenty of episodes there, and they tend to be an hour long. Perfect, you know, for running and that kind of thing. So if you are looking for some kind of music, that's a great place to find it. Just going back to some of the comments, Kay says she loves training with a hydration vest. Always makes me feel lighter without it on race day. That's the point, isn't it? You know, so that was in response to the camel drinks thing that Dawn mentioned. Ian says, freed from desire. As a Forest fan, as a football fan, that's one what gets us really bouncing, you know, in a football stadium. But I'm sure it'd have the same effect from the from listening to it whilst you're out doing your exercise and things like that. So again, lots to sort of go at there. That's the questions as they were this evening. Thanks for everybody that put them in. As I always say, you can ask me anything whilst we're live on here. You know, I'm quite happy to answer that. So Sean mentions here, when did you do your first marathon? It was actually in 2017. Spoke about this a lot on DOdaily in the past. One of the reasons I do DOdaily in the first place was a friend who came to the running club when I'd set that up. Unfortunately, took his own life. And a few weeks later, I was offered a place at the Manchester Marathon. I took it and I raised a few quid for Mind, the mental health charity. Wasn't something I was planning at the time, but I was actually in really good physical shape. Went out hoping to do a 3:45 marathon. That's still something I'm reaching out for now, all this time later. Didn't happen on the day because I was actually poorly. I think it was a bit of paranoia, a bit of flu set in after all the long runs and the training. And I did a 4:15. Really pleased with that. Still my best time ever. You know, I'm not going to threaten that in London in a few weeks' time. Nowhere near. But again, it's a process and I'm enjoying the process. And hopefully, and one of the things that keeps me really, really motivated is the fact that when I did my first marathon, I did it in that time. I don't want to feel, having come to running slightly later in my life, you know, I'm not that old, but slightly later than most people in my mid-30s, I don't want to feel like I've completed the journey. I want to keep going and keep sort of attacking the things I've done in the past and keep getting that sense of achievement, you know, those rewards, those nice feelings you get from doing good times and completing marathons and half marathons. So my first one was Manchester. Done it now twice. I've done Manchester Marathon, really enjoyed it. For those that don't get into London or can't get into the big city events, Manchester's a great alternative. Really enjoyable, big event. I think it might be the biggest outside London. If not, it's one of them. So it's really good. Manchester's a fantastic place as well, isn't it? Absolutely love going to Manchester. For whatever reason, I go there. Quite often football, quite often been running as well. Friendly people, and a really nice place to do your thing. So yeah, that was my first 2017. I've done Manchester twice. I've done Berlin. I've done London once. I've done a virtual London marathon. So there's plenty I've done. Really happy with what I've done. So again, when I'm going into this London one, it's not something that I feel I have to go and prove myself, because I'm happy with what I've done before, and I feel very proud of myself, that I've done these things. I was talking about events earlier and how many I've perhaps done. It's still a proud thing that I have done so many, and there was a point in my life when I'd done none, and like I said, I was getting to a point where did it look like it was ever going to happen? But what running's done for me, and it's made me believe I can do absolutely anything I want, because I lost a lot of weight. I made a lot of positive changes from a really rubbish situation. And now it's given me the confidence to do things that are totally out of my comfort zone, like DOdaily. So yeah, it was the best thing I ever did. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of commitment and determination. And I saw a lot of people start running thinking, well, he can do it, so obviously I can do it. It doesn't work like that. You can't just do it. You've got to be doing it all the time, and have some kind of desire to get through the pain barrier and all the obstacles it throws as well. So plenty of determination required to get one in the bank. So to having done 5 or 6, feeling really proud of myself for that. So thanks for that question, Sean. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate everybody who's got involved this evening. Again, it's just this light-hearted chat of me just talking about the things that are on my mind, people having the chance to comment in. If you've got anything to add to anything I've said so far, anything to comment on, any thoughts on this week's throwback question, if you had to listen to the same song on repeat for hours, what would it be? Please help me on this one. I mentioned the London Marathon theme, but I was just kind of speculating in a way, because I'm not sure that's even a genuine question from Kay. She'll probably kill me for saying that, but it definitely is a genuine question. And I'll give you my thoughts on it. And like anything, if you've got any comments on that or anything else, I'd really appreciate it. It supports the channel. The guys who comment whilst it's live help. The likes help. The subscriptions help as well. And people looking in, whether you're watching live or afterwards, I really appreciate all the support in just checking in. Because that's all I'm doing. I'm checking in with where I'm at, getting all these idealisms off the top of my head, what people want to hear about, and just passing on the way I'm feeling. And hopefully from my positivity, and always seeking positivity. I'm not always positive. I have my moments. I'll have my rants. I'll have my little moans and make my point, but at least I'm trying. I'm trying to be positive, and this is what DOdaily does for me. So if anybody takes anything from it, I'd really appreciate any feedback. Once again, that email address, if you've got any questions, if it's serious, I really encourage some of the stuff around mental health and people wanting to ask me things. I have got deep in the past. There's some real deep episodes where I spoke about when I got to my lowest point and how I felt and how I got through it, and how I found ways to sort of get to those points of doing those marathons and things like that. So if you want to ask me how I deal with things, I'll be honest. I'll be absolutely honest. If you want my opinion on this, that, or the other, I'll be honest, because there'd be no point doing it if I wasn't. I'm out my comfort zone. I put myself in a position to take it one way or another, whether it's good feedback, bad feedback, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes it feels unnecessary, but we have to keep going, don't we? If you've got a real belief like I have, if you've got a real passion to support and encourage and help people however you can, at the moment, this is the only way I can do it. You know, it's not the only way. There's other things I do, the running groups, etc. But this is one of the ways I can do it, and I can help myself as well. So once again, thank you to everybody for watching. It's so much appreciated. Couple of comments. Good to see you tuning in, Barry. Thanks for the thumbs up there. Great run last night with Barry. It was someone, again, never ran with him before. Someone who helped me get around 10K on really tired legs. And that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about helping each other. Don't have to go to massive lengths. I put the running club on to try and inspire others, but there's still people who can come to it and help and get me around and work together. And that's what it's about, isn't it? So really, really appreciate that. And Dawn says, I'm the one and only is the answer to the song on repeat. Of course it is. Do you know, if anyone knows Dawn, they know how much she sings it badly on karaoke. And don't let us forget about it. So, of course, that's the one you listen to. But appreciate you comments. Appreciate everybody getting involved. You know, I'm doing what I do. It's not going to change. Keep tuning in. You know, something different every day. Just what's on top of my head. Just blurbing it all out, and hopefully somebody somewhere gets something from it. Until the next episode, which will be tomorrow. No excuses with the clock change now. I've been moaning about the dark mornings and the wet and the cold. The weather's improved. The days are longer. You know, there's so many reasons to wake up to walk, and really, really attack the day. I'll get out there. I'll be back from 7 p.m. tomorrow. Hopefully, there'll be an episode on. You can check it out. Keep watching. You know, if you watch a few of these, you might just get it. You might just get what I'm trying to do here and trying to help others. Until then, guys, just doing it.